So when you think about life, what comes to mind? Probably animals, plants, right? Maybe some fungi? But what if I told you that at the most basic level, pretty much all cellular life on Earth can be sorted into just two big categories? Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on this fundamental divide. And we're also going to meet a very strange outlier, one that doesn't really fit in anywhere.
You know, for a long time, we had a really simple way of looking at the world. We tried to cram everything that was alive into two neat little boxes. Any guesses what those two boxes were? If you guessed plants and animals, you nailed it. That was the model for ages. But as we learned more, we realized that system was just way too simple. The real deep down split in cellular life has nothing to do with whether you have leaves or legs. It's all about something way smaller, something internal, whether or not your cells have a nucleus. All right, so let's kick things off with the first and by far the oldest of these two cell types, the wonderfully simple prokaryotes. And you gotta love it when the name gives you a massive clue. Prokaryote literally comes from Greek words meaning before the nucleus. These guys are the original trailblazers of life on this planet, showing up long before that complex little command center we call a nucleus ever came to be. Their whole deal is simplicity. So here we get a peek inside a typical bacterium, a classic prokaryote, and you can see just how simple we're talking. See that squiggly stuff? That's its DNA, just a single circular loop, floating around free in the cytoplasm. There's no special room for it. You've also got a tough outer cell wall, some ribosomes to build proteins, and maybe even a little tail, a flagellum, to zip around.
These are the key points of the topic. Study them carefully, understand each one, and make sure you remember them.
Now, let's cross over to the other side of the divide. We're going from the simple to the seriously complex. Let's talk about the eukaryotes. And this is our club. It includes us, all other animals, plants, fungi, you name it. And yep, you guessed it, the name tells the story here too. Eukaryote means true nucleus, and that is the game changer. Unlike the prokaryotes, these cells built a secure vault for their precious genetic code. They enclosed all their DNA inside a dedicated membrane-bound structure, the nucleus. Now, here's something that might blow your mind. This wasn't some 50-50 split from the get-go. Oh no, the prokaryotes had the entire planet to themselves for an almost unimaginable amount of time. Biologists figure it took about 1,500 million years for the more complex eukaryotes to finally evolve from their simpler prokaryotic ancestors. That's an incredible stretch of time. Okay, so we've met our two main contenders. Now let's do the fun part. Let's put them head to head, side by side, and really see what makes them so different. Welcome to the cellular showdown.
Right off the bat, the differences are just massive. First, look at the size. A eukaryotic cell can be up to 10,000 times larger by volume. That's like comparing a garden shed to a skyscraper. It's a huge difference. Then there's the DNA. Prokaryotes, it's circular, it's naked, and it's just floating around. Eukaryotes, the DNA is linear, it's neatly packaged with proteins into chromosomes, and it's all safely locked away inside that nucleus. And the differences keep on coming when we look inside. Both cell types have ribosomes. Those are the little factories that build proteins. But the eukaryotic ones are bigger and a bit more sophisticated. And here's another key upgrade for eukaryotes. They have something called the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short. You can think of it like a massive internal highway system for moving stuff around the cell. A feature the simpler prokaryotes just don't have. And all of this points to the biggest concept here, division of labor. Eukaryotic cells are jam-packed with specialized compartments called organelles. Think of them like tiny little organs, each with its own specific job. It's just an explosion of complexity. Even their armor is different. Prokaryotic cell walls are made of a material called murin. Eukaryotes, if they have a cell wall at all, use things like cellulose for plants or chitin for fungi. So there we have it. Two neat little boxes, right? The simple prokaryote and the complex eukaryote.
But, biology just loves to throw us a curveball. And in this story, the ultimate rule breaker, the true anomaly, is the virus. The discovery of viruses was a total shock to the system. Picture this. It's 1852, and a scientist is working with these super fine filters. Filters so small they could catch any known bacteria. But something was still getting through. Something that was causing disease, but was much, much smaller than anything they'd ever seen. It was the first clue that there was a whole new type of biological entity out there. So if you remember one thing about viruses, let it be this: viruses are not cells. I'll say it again. They are not cells. They don't have a cell membrane, no cytoplasm, no ribosomes of their own. They break the most fundamental rule of the cellular world simply by not being a cell in the first place. I mean, look at this thing. Its structure is the absolute definition of minimalist. A virus is basically just a snippet of genetic material, either DNA or RNA, wrapped up in a protective protein coat, which is called a capsid. That's it. Seriously, there's no factory, no power source, just the blueprint and its carrying case. And because they're so ridiculously simple, they can't actually do anything by themselves. They are the ultimate parasites. Their entire strategy for existing is to infect a living cell. It doesn't matter if it's a prokaryote or a eukaryote, and hijack its internal machinery. They turn that poor, unsuspecting cell into a mindless factory for making more and more copies of the virus. Which, of course, brings us to this huge, kind of mind-bending final question. Viruses have genetic material. They evolve, but they can't reproduce on their own, and they have no metabolism. They just exist on this weird, blurry line between complex chemistry and actual biology. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Based on everything we know, do you think viruses are truly alive?
Important terminology for this topic is shown on the screen, arranged according to various exam boards. These terms demand focused attention during revision as they are highly significant and must never be overlooked. Furthermore, a past paper evaluation is included for each board and paper format. Give this paper attention too, since it will strongly enhance and refine your preparation. Additionally, aims to grasp the meaning and usage of every term instead of rote learning them individually. Consistent practice of these terms in past paper questions will greatly boost your precision and overall exam results.
Please subscribe our channel to get more educational videos. Thank you.